An engaged couple was working on planning their wedding and reception. The couple walked into a bake shop located in Denver, Colorado, with one of the couple's mothers, who was in town to help them out in preparing. This was a special day. They brought a binder full of ideas, concepts that they had for their wedding cake. But they never got the chance to even open that binder in the bake shop. They introduced themselves to the owner of the shop. They told the owner they were looking for a cake for their wedding. The owner stopped them right there. He offered to make the couple cookies, brownies, birthday cake, or practically anything else in the store, just not a wedding cake. The couple stormed out of the store. The bake shop owner said it was against his religious beliefs to bake a cake for Charles Craig and Dave Mullins, a same-sex couple. They weren't even going to be married in that state. That did not matter to this couple. That didn't matter to the bake shop owner. This discrimination went to court. It even went to Supreme Court and recently got overturned, siding with the bake shop owner. Jack Phillips' intentions were good from his perspective, just like what the Pharisees and scribes were doing in today's scriptures. The intent was to uphold the letter of the law versus an intent to be loving, to be in relationship with those we just don't understand. A young woman named Miriam fled Honduras because of political violence. She arrived at the Texas border with her 18-month-old child in her arms. She was looking for protection in the United States for both her and her child. But she was stopped at the border and ordered by ICE agents to put the child in a waiting vehicle. They both cried as the boy was driven away. Neither ICE nor the U.S. government showed any sort of compassion or empathy for this young woman and child. ICE was upholding the law, but didn't care about the relationships they were impacting. Now, I preached a sermon here a while back, and after that service, a number of people said the message resonated with them. But one person confronted me and called me out as a hypocrite. I thought I had done my job that morning, but that was it. I had only done my job. My intention was good. If I had preached on something I was not actively living out, I hadn't been practicing what I was preaching. And I couldn't just simply say, I'm sorry. There was a lot of anger and hurt that I had to deal with. I had to discover how to start living the way I preached. I had to work to repair that relationship. Our own denomination has been struggling mightily with this issue. It's not about the cakes, separating families, or being hypocrites, but about belief systems. The church is looking at different options on how to handle the differing opinions on homosexuality. How do we heal those rifts? How did we heal the rifts that happened, that arose out of racial segregation? For those of you who are young, in 1968, the Methodist Church, it wasn't united at that point, came together to take on the hard work to end racial segregation. It was indeed hard work, and it didn't happen overnight. But the church came together, and it became the United Methodist Church. I share these stories to bring awareness on how our intentions might be one thing, but the outcome something else entirely. Most of us have likely been hurt before or hurt someone else. That hurt can stay with us. The pain we feel inside may come out in some not so well-planned, not so nice ways. But we can work to heal these sort of things. We've heard over the last several weeks of how Jesus has healed in a variety of ways in a variety of issues. This love we share, justice we seek, and the peace we bring are all ways we can begin to heal the fractures that have occurred. These intentions to do good but only provide lip service can be healed. We have to try to love as Christ would have us love. And that is a tough ask sometimes. We may not agree with the notion. I know what you're thinking. How could I possibly do that? Someone said something 8 years ago. I've never been able to forgive them, so I can't possibly love them. Yes. Yes, you can. It is hard work. Think about all those who Jesus hung out with. Tax collectors, beggars, lepers, Samaritans, sinners. Now substitute a person of a politically opposing view of yours to the tax collector. Substitute a homeless person for the blind beggar. Substitute a person of color or different ethnicity or heritage for that Samaritan. Substitute the person in recovery or addict for the leper. Substitute an LGBTQ person for the sinner. This love that we should share with others needs to be genuine. We have to show a respect for one another's culture, a respect for one another's history. This love that Christ has showed us should be our intent to show others. We need to seek justice for those who may not have a voice, whether that be for the immigrants, LGBTQ, indigenous people, the homeless, or others that have been marginalized. We have to practice active listening. When they talk about racial issues, the first thing they say is listen, listen, listen. But we have to be vocal about where we stand and combat those issues with empathy. When I served on mission locally, nationally, or even abroad, I have been reminded to be intentionally there, present in whatever way was needed. I remember on my last trip to Guatemala, I spent time playing with the kids. They were waiting their turn, or their parents' turn, to see the doctor. I was kind of a little, this wasn't my primary job for the week. I was counting pills for most of the week. But that was important work just the same. And there's a position of peace that we can bring to any kind of situation. With faced as animosity, do we just throw that right back? Or do we take the time to express ourselves in a peace-filled fashion? In Hebrews 12:14, the writer says, "Pursue the goal of peace along with everyone, and the holiness as well, because no one will see the Lord without it." Every mission team that has gone to New Orleans has been encouraged to listen to the stories. Stories from homeowner or others that are still healing from the devastation that occurred. Why? Because it is important for that peace to bring healing to those individuals. Jesus is challenging us to think about how we keep our traditions contribute to the fulfillment of the mission. Jesus is talking about the human heart. In this passage, Jesus has no patience for those who follow traditions with only their lips, but not with their hearts. What spiritual inhibitions are keeping us from loving God and our neighbors more fully? We need to look to that great teacher, Jesus, to teach us how to build up relationships and not tear them down. Our job is to live like we are disciples of Jesus. We shouldn't be so opinionated to the point that we just turn people away from the message of healing that can occur through Jesus and through us. We can uphold tradition all we want, but if our words and actions are not loving God, ourselves, our neighbors, or creation, there's a problem. As Sue Miller and Adam Duckworth say in their book, Not Normal, we are created to love. We are created to give. We are created to care. We are created to help others. What would it be like to open the eyes of our heart to the greatest challenges we face, or the great challenges that the world faces? We have to find more ways to bring more love into the world. We have to find ways to bring more justice into the world. We have to find ways to bring more peace into the world. That is the way we start to heal our intentions. Amen.